It's time for ROTD Weekend. So a headline caught my eye on Facebook the other day, and it was from USA Today stating that a big grocery chain was doing a Thanksgiving dinner, like groceries for a Thanksgiving dinner that feeds 10 people for under $5 per person, which is like $50, which is a really great deal. And I'll say that was from Kroger, which I don't have here, but there are similar offers like this. You know, grocery prices are rising. And so all the different retailers are trying to get us to shop at their stores instead of at their competitors' stores and to spend the money there. I went and had a look at what actually is included in this deal. And it is a lot of stuff. And, you know, if you're trying to make a dinner for a lot of people and not spend a lot of money, it is probably a good way to go. I am guessing that the picture of the grocery cart, and I will link to it in the show notes for this episode, I'm guessing that the items in that grocery cart aren't in general going to appeal to the people listening to the show, to you guys. Some of them will, some of them won't. There's just a lot of like pre-made things in there. There's like a can of gravy and the stuffing is in a box and it's the fried onions for the canned green beans. And like, please, 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 no judgment. I use some of these things for sure. And some of them are traditions in my family. Some of them are not. And like, I'll give you an example. I always make my mom's stuffing recipe, which I will link to in the show notes. It's the one done in the muffin tins that's really perfectly portioned. I always make that. But every now and then I buy the boxed stuffing and use it to stuff some pork chops or chicken breasts for like a weeknight meal. It's just a really quick and easy thing to do. So I do use those things. It's just not going to be in my Thanksgiving dinner. And like, same idea. I will buy a jar of gravy, not the can that they have. There's a jarred brand that I like more that I will keep on hand for when I just really need to spruce up a dinner really quick. It's in my pantry. I also use it for like a quick poutine if I have some frozen French fries and some cheese curds and a jar of gravy in the pantry. Like that is just a midnight snack that I can't get enough of. So I use these things. I don't use them on Thanksgiving though. Like I'm gonna roast a turkey and I'm gonna make the gravy from the drippings. I will link to my turkey gravy recipe for you too, and my roast turkey recipe, which is actually kind of going viral on Facebook right now, by the way. But anyhow, I will link to those things. My point is just that when I look at that cart, I am seeing a lot of things that I wouldn't buy. And if I did just get their bundle deal, if I just went and said, I will have the feeds 10, $5 a person deal, please, I would then end up having to buy a whole lot of other things to do things the way that I want to. I think it's a really great deal and lets you have Thanksgiving on a budget. Absolutely. I just would rather spend the budget on some different things. I'm not sure I could make my dinner for 10 come in for under $5 a person though. So, that is the trade-off. I actually also think this dinner from this grocery cart is going to be quicker and easier to pull off. So that is a factor as well, right? So all these different things, it's like your own personal Venn diagram of like cost and time and ingredients and all of that has to like come together to be your sweet spot of what you're going to buy and what you're going to make, right? Anyhow, I saw this deal. I thought it was great. I went and had a look and I was like, oh, no, those aren't the things that I would necessarily want, even if they're the things that other people would want. The other thing about it, though, more relevant to what we've been talking about on this show recently, is the realization of how the Thanksgiving marketing is geared towards all these like really big dinners, lots of side dishes, everyone coming together. And as I'm looking at that, I'm thinking about my much smaller dinners and possibly your smaller dinners. If you've been following along on this with me lately, you probably are feeling some of this pressure to have big things and realizing that that's not what fits for you right now. And, cooking for two or for one or for a small household can be a strange experience at this time of year with all the giant turkeys on sale and feeds whole family deals like the one from Kroger. So I just wanted to say that if you see deals like this, if you see all of that going on and you're feeling like the odd one out, the Cook for Two community is probably just right for you. It's a little place of the internet where those of us who are cooking in this way can find each other, find ideas for things that fit our lives, where we can be supported instead of feeling overwhelmed, where we're not having to figure out how to scale down recipes that are meant for a crowd. We're not wasting food. Everything is the right portion and all thought out already. So I wanted to let you know again that we have launched the Cook for Two community. And actually today, if you are listening on Saturday, November 22nd, we are having our first live event. So this is going to be a Zoom call with me. It's called Stir It Up. We are doing live meal planning, me talking with you, whoever shows up on this call, talking about our own meal planning problems, cooking conundrums, anything you want to talk about, really. It is at 3 p.m. Eastern. It is for Cook for Two members. If you would like to become a member, today is a great day to do it. And I still have the coupon code that is just for podcast listeners. So you're going to go to cookfor2.us. That's cookfor2.us. And you will use the coupon code ROTD, all capital letters. And then you will get this for $5 a month. And that is a forever price. If you sign up now with that coupon code, I will never raise it on you for as long as you stay subscribed. Even though I know as we offer more and more, the price is going to be going up and this coupon code will not be available, but you will be grandfathered in. I don't love that phrase for some reason. It's a founder price. You are a founding member and you will stay at the $5 a month price forever. So you can sign up cookfor2.us and use coupon code ROTD. And then you can participate in our Stir It Up meal planning live session today, Saturday, November 22nd at 3 p.m. Eastern. And I'll just let you know what else is in the membership. So we're going to be doing these live meal planning sessions regularly. We are going to be doing the live cooking demos with me and Marty. Some of those will be starting out public, so you might get to sample them, but eventually we want them to be just for you guys. And you also have the recipe vault. It has over 75 recipes that are for two for small households in there. They've all been scaled. Like I've been testing them to make sure that they are for two people. And the way that I do this is to make sure that they're not using like halved ingredients. There's nothing calling for like half a can of beans or anything like that. I'm using maybe frozen beans instead of canned, or if it would call for diced tomatoes, I have other alternatives that you can do. So trying to make the recipes not only for two people, but like practical for two people. So you're not having a lot of waste and leftovers. So there are over 75 recipes there already, and we are adding more all the time. I have 5 new ones about to go up. Oh, I want to say it's tomorrow, but I'm not positive. But yeah, there's 5 more that are going up and they're all advertising free. There is none of the ads on there. And yeah, so that is what's there. And then also the courses. There are videos with me talking and explaining different strategies, tips, and ideas for cooking for two. And we'll be doing more of those regularly as well. So you can jump right in, browse the recipes, and watch the videos, start learning, and participate in that live. So go to cookfor2.us and use coupon code ROTD, and that's all caps. And I hope to see you today at 3 p.m. How exciting. Okay, so I'm going to say Thanksgiving is coming, and if you are somebody who wants to bake some sweets but doesn't want to spend a lot of time doing it, my guest today is exactly right for you. I am talking to Dee Rotman from dsweets.com, and she is somebody who specializes in baking for time-sensitive people. I know, right? We all want this. We want our delicious baked goods, but we don't want to spend a lot of time making them. Dee is the expert. You have probably seen her recipes on Instagram if you're over there, because she goes viral all the time, and the things she makes are so delicious. So she is here today talking about a delicious sweet treat and in general about baking more quickly. I know you're going to love this conversation. Let's listen to my conversation with Dee Rotman. Hi, Dee. Welcome to the show.
Hi. Thanks so much for having me.
I'm so excited to be talking with you. We met at a conference a few months ago and totally clicked. It was super fun. And now we're going to talk about one of your favorite things, which is not one of my favorite things. So baking, I don't really have a sweet tooth, but I do like to make things for other people which is that weird thing, like you're making something for people that you yourself don't like, which is weird. So that's why I love one of your things that you do is baking for time sensitive people, which intrigues me because I don't want to spend a lot of time on the baking. So tell me what that means to you.
Yeah, exactly. So many of us don't have time to stand all day in the kitchen baking something, but we do really love that moment of being able to bring something beautiful, like a beautiful dessert out, put it on the table. Everybody's eyebrows are raised. There's just like that really rewarding moment. Plus, like it's so delicious. I do have a sweet tooth. So for me, it's like really good. But I'm also a mom of two, and I know that many other people also have so much going on in their lives. So how can we make this as easy as possible? Like from the moment that you start reading the recipe, you either have the ingredients on hand in your pantry, in your fridge, or you can easily access them in a grocery store that's just like down the street, right? Like make it super easy. The recipes themselves are super easy to read. Like you don't have to go back and see the ingredients on like the top of the page and then the instructions at the bottom. Everything is together. So like, I'm just going to tell you, you need to take 2 tablespoons of X, Y, and Z and put it in this, right? It's super easy, very quick to go through. And the idea is that we go through these recipes, and even if they do take some time, there are a lot of components that you can make ahead of time. So just really mindful of the person who's making them to make sure it's not overwhelming. There are faster ways to do it, but you still put a really quality, delicious bake on the table at the end of the day.
Oh, I love that. Yes. And I like that idea behind the ingredients being so accessible because it's such a thing, right? When you want to make something and then you're reading the ingredient list, you're like, oh, I don't have that, or I don't know what that is, or I don't know where to find that. So you're taking that away. Do you find that there are things that you end up having to substitute that normally you would have to go to a specialty store for, or is it pretty straightforward to make the recipes like that?
Yeah, I try to keep it where everything is pretty accessible. I think when I first got into blogging, I'd wanted to have a bit more of an edge and try to use different things like maple sugar, for example, which like sounds really good, is super delicious, but it's like, well, how do I get that? Like, I don't want to have somebody have to go on Amazon, try to go find it, wait for it to get delivered. Like, I want you to be able to make it today. Like, you want good chocolate chip cookies, we're going to make them today. So that's kind of where I'm coming from.
I love that. So do you have tips for baking more quickly, or where is your advice with that?
Yeah, so it all lies within the recipes. None of these recipes are going to be crazy. Like everything that you'll find on dsweets.com, nothing is crazy that like if I can make it, anybody can make it. That's kind of my take. And for those moments where we do want to put a showstopper on the table, I will go into more details on you can make this part in advance, right? And put it in the fridge. And then you can come back and assemble later. Or for example, I have this super easy almond croissant recipe that I have on the website, and you can actually make the frangipane and put it all together and then stick it in your fridge at night and bake them in the morning. So like we keep in mind things like that where like you can do a little bit at a time, and then the morning of you can bake it.
Oh, wonderful. What kind of dough is used for the croissant recipe?
So because this one's a super easy recipe, we actually use existing croissants that you can buy at the store. But I am developing a croissant recipe right now, actually. So that will go live at some point in the new cookbook that I'm working on.
Oh, you have a cookbook coming up?
Yeah, I am working on one. Yes.
That is so exciting.
Yeah.
Can you tell us anything about it? Or is
Yeah,
it
I can tell you. I can't tell you what it's called yet, but I'm hoping so I'm self-publishing and I'm hopeful that it will come out before the holidays this year. So this is like crazy time right now, as you know, and it's going to be a mini cookbook. So think like 20 recipes for the almond croissant lover is kind of where we're heading with this. So like I love almond desserts. Like if I'm going to a bakery, I'm going for the almond croissant, and I know I'm not alone. So I'm developing all these because over the last, I would say like year and a half, especially, I've developed so many almond recipes, and I've had a lot of people rave about them and ask for more. And so I'm like, this this is the perfect place for all these people who love almond desserts as much as I do. And you can have them come up in so many different forms, in different flavors. Like I'm working on a banana cake that has these almond frangipane swirls throughout and this beautiful almond crumb topping right now. There's so many ways to be creative about it. I'm just like, I'm over the moon. I'm so excited.
Well, I'm going to just say that this episode, I didn't tell you this before we started recording, Dee. This episode is going live in November, right around Thanksgiving. So people listening,
Okay.
I bet Dee's book is probably out. And if it is, I'm going to link to it in the show notes for you. And you can go and get all of your almond love going on in time for, well, the holidays are right here. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes.
So exciting. That's a great idea. Almond desserts as like a cookbook topic. It's like niche, but also like huge. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's very loved. Like the people who are into almond croissants and almond desserts in general, like they truly, there's something, I don't know, there's something so special about it. Like it makes you think of like, oh, this bakery that I walked by and everything smelled so good. And I had some with my coffee and it's got these like good feelings inside and they're like so good. Do you care for almond desserts? Like have you had almond croissants before? And I know you don't have a sweet tooth.
No, it's so funny. I wasn't going to say anything to you because I didn't want to tell you this and everybody could get mad at me. I like almonds. I don't like almond desserts. Like marzipan. Marzipan's like my least favorite thing in the world.
Yeah. It's okay.
No,
it can grow on you over time.
I think it's actually because I don't have a sweet tooth. That kind of thing can often be very sweet. Like it's mostly sugar, right?
Yeah.
Like a marzipan.
Well, no, actually. So maybe in marzipan, but like for frangipane, there's a lot to it. I mean, it's really simple to make and, we can talk about that, but it's basically like almond flour, which anytime you bake that, it's like so good. It's got this like beautiful texture to it, such a nice moistness to it. And then there's like butter and eggs. And then you do add the sugar and I do a vanilla extract and a little bit of almond extract too. And those together, I'm obsessed. Anytime I bake that into anything, I'm obsessed. It's so good. But not for everybody.
No, I might like that. I think it's just I think it's when the almond flavor, which is almost like cherry-like sometimes. Do you know what I'm talking about? When
it's very concentrated.
It's very sweet. That's where I don't like it. I do, I eat almonds in my cereal every morning for breakfast. I love almonds. I just don't like them super sweet. I love, what are the other Marcona almonds? Oh my God.
Oh, so good.
I love them.
I know.
My favorite.
Like on a cheese board. So good.
Amazing. Okay, so this book is probably out by the time people are listening. That's super exciting. And now I'm curious, Dee, the recipe that you're telling me about today, does it involve almonds?
Yeah.
Yay!
Yes, it does. Yeah.
Of course, because you love them so
it's
much.
top of mind for me.
Yeah.
So I love them so much.
Oh, so fun. Okay, what are you telling us about?
Okay, so we're actually going to make almond croissant bars today.
Ooh.
And so think of it as kind of like a cookie meets like crumb topping and there's frangipane in the middle. And it's really quite delicious. It's one of my recipes where like for a lot of people where I'm like, if you only make like 3 things from my site, please make this one of them.
Oh, wow.
That's how I feel about it. Yeah.
So you said croissant bars. Is there actually something croissant-like to them or is it just because they have that same flavor profile?
Yeah, because they have the frangipane, which is basically what they put in the almond croissants as well. It really comes with that really good flavor and texture in the middle, but it's a lot more doable for somebody making it at home because we're using a shortbread crust and crumb topping. So it's a lot easier for people to make at home. You don't have to like slave over and make croissants yourself.
I saw one of your recipes on Instagram. Oh my God, everybody, you have to follow Dee on Instagram. She has beautiful, beautiful, beautiful videos for a like cinnamon bun bar. It had a shortbread crust. Is it a similar concept?
So cinnamon roll shortbread bars, and it is a very similar concept. So I really love shortbread too. So you'll see a lot of shortbread bars throughout my website and on Instagram, and people go nuts over them. Like they love them. And I understand it's like buttery, it's tender, but also has like a crispiness on top. Like it's just so good. And those cinnamon roll shortbread bars, they're so good. They have an actual like cinnamon roll filling on the inside. And then we do like a cream cheese frosting on top as well. So you really get all the flavors, but they're way faster to make than cinnamon rolls if you don't have the time.
I love that. I know. I keep saying I don't have a sweet tooth. I love shortbread. And we were in England last summer. We went to where Ted Lasso is filmed. Have you watched Ted Lasso?
Yeah.
And that
I only watched the first episode.
Well, that's all. I mean, that's enough because he makes the shortbread cookies for his boss every day. And there's a store selling the shortbread cookies. We had to get them. And we're standing there in the like Ted Lasso where it's filmed eating the shortbread cookies. And I'm like, oh my God, I love this.
So fun.
Yeah, I do love shortbread. So these sound amazing. Okay. So the almond croissant bars, where do you start when you're making those?
Okay. So we start with our shortbread and basically we make the shortbread crust. We start with 1 cup of softened butter and we mix that in with super fine sugar. So if you can get baker's sugar or caster sugar, those are all the same thing. And I like to use super fine sugar for shortbread because I feel like it integrates so much better into the dough. So we do the 3/4 cup of that. And then we add in the vanilla extract as well. And you can just mix those together along with about 1/4 teaspoon of salt. We mix that all together. It becomes, you kind of see it becoming kind of creamy with the butter and it smells really amazing at this point. And then we add in our flour. So we do 2.5 cups all-purpose flour into that. And I just have it running in my KitchenAid most of the time. So like the mixer will just run in the background while I start working on other things. And so that will come together and it's going to look kind of crumbly, like you can still grab like pieces of it, but if you try to stick them together with your hands, they will form a shape together. Okay. So that's kind of the texture we're going for. And then we split that dough into 3 parts and we use 2/3 for the base and then we're going to leave 1/3 of it for the top later. So we set that aside. And I like to bake a lot of my things, you'll see, in square baking pans because then it's really easy to cut them into like nice bars. So a lot of my recipes will incorporate that. So we use a 9x9 square baking pan for this. I usually line it with parchment paper and then I add in the shortbread crust for the base. So those 2/3 that we'd set aside.
So do you find the square easier to cut into bars? Why is it easier?
Well, I like it because I do it for cakes too. I don't know. I just like the idea of like being able to cut them into like very clear shapes. And I just feel like it's a lot easier. It also works really well for like my video setup on Instagram. And so I do that too because I feel like it works really well and it's really easy to show the layers on the inside when you cut into it. So I prefer that. But yeah, I am like very particular about like, I like my baking pans to be like, have really nice, neat corners, not rounded ones. So that's something else that I really care about. So I feel like then they really cut into like beautiful bars.
Yeah, I think all of mine have rounded edges and I've never thought about it before, but I don't bake that much.
Doesn't bother you?
Well, it's more, my pans are more used for like casseroles and things like that more than for baked goods.
Which might be easier to like take out, right?
Yeah, maybe.
For you.
Or I just don't, I don't think I thought about it before.
Yeah. So I like to line mine with parchment paper and then I can lift the entire thing after it's cooled down and put it elsewhere and like cut them nicely. And I think that that's just really helpful.
Yeah. No, that's 5,000 steps above me. The odd time that I do make something like brownies, I'm literally like cutting right in the pan and they're like all falling apart and I don't wait till it's cooled properly.
Oh, well, with brownies, it's really hard to wait. Like, I feel like I want to eat them as soon as they're out of the oven. Like, they smell so good. I know, it's hard to wait.
Okay, so you put the parchment paper in the 9x9 pan and then you're patting the shortbread into it?
Yeah. So we put, the 2/3 of the shortbread dough and then we start packing it into the bottom and really like smoothing it into an even layer at the bottom. And then we chill that for 15 to 30 minutes in the fridge. About halfway through that, I start preheating my oven. And then once it's out of the fridge, then we can go and we par bake it in the oven so that our crust doesn't become soggy. It's a bit more baked at the very end of this. So we par bake it on its own. You don't have to cover it. You don't have to put like baking beans or anything in there. You can literally just pop it in the oven on 350. We do that for about 15 minutes and then we take that out and we let it sit while we're working on the frangipane.
So I want to back up. Why do you have to chill it before baking it? Does that do something?
Yeah, so it helps us to just like helps everything to incorporate together. The sugars and the flavors of like the vanilla and the butter, everything just really comes together. So we're going to let it, sit and rest, come together. And then after that, then we'll put it in the oven.
Gotcha. Okay. And so,
Yes.
and this par baking is helping it to be a crisper crust, not soggy when you're going to add stuff to the top. Gotcha.
That's right. Yeah. Because once you add the frangipane, we just want to make sure that because it is a thicker layer of shortbread, we want to make sure it's really fully cooked by the end of all this. So when you par bake it, you don't want it fully cooked at that point. That's why it's only baked for 15 minutes. It's only partial because we're going to continue to bake it with the frangipane later.
Okay. Makes sense. Okay. So while that's cooling, what are you doing?
Okay. So this is where I start to make the frangipane. I sometimes will make it while it's like in the oven too. And the frangipane sounds fancy. And some people are like, I've never made this before, but it's literally like an almond cream basically is what you're making. And this is like this creamy, delicious thing that smells amazing. So we use softened butter and we put that in a bowl. And then we add our vanilla extract, our almond extract, and our sugar all together. And then I mix it with an electric mixer just for time's sake. Do it really quickly. It comes together within like a minute. It becomes this like creamy, beautiful mixture. And then we add 2 room temperature eggs. And I've had a lot of people ask me like, oh, like how do you bring, eggs to room temperature for baking? So a really easy way to do that doesn't take a lot of time is as I start making things, I put 2 eggs in a cup or a container that has warm water in it. And you can do that really quickly by putting like tap water in a cup. Then you go and you put it in the microwave for like 40 seconds, put your eggs in there, let it sit. You have to do nothing and it's done. So we'll take those 2 room temperature eggs. We'll mix them in again with the electric mixer. And then I'll put in my flours after that. So 2 cups almond flour and 1 tablespoon all-purpose flour. And you mix all that together and it becomes this like beautiful kind of yellow, super creamy, delicious thing. Smells amazing. And that's it. Like it takes 5 minutes. It really does not take very long to make. So once our shortbread crust has cooled, and it doesn't really have to cool. Like you don't really need to wait. If you already have your frangipane ready, you can just go ahead and put it in there. So we're going to add it into our square pan with the crust on top of it. And then we're going to smooth it into an even layer. And then after that, the remaining shortbread that we had put aside, we are going to basically bring that back here. And you can either like, as you pick it up from your container, wherever you've been keeping it, you can take it in like little crumbs. And if it's started to start to form together, you can kind of separate them easily where you just like go above and just sprinkle it above all over. And then I also like to add in sliced almond on top as well, because it's really yummy. It adds that really lovely crunch on top and it also tastes really good. They become kind of toasted in the bake. Yeah. So I add that on top as well. And that's it. You stick that in the oven. We bake it. I have double checked, but I think it's for around 50 minutes. And we let it bake. Definitely go onto the website for the full recipe and all the details. And then once it's baked, you bring it out when everything starts looking kind of like the almonds are toasted on top. It's looking golden brown. We bring that out. And this time, so unlike the brownies that we talked about earlier, this we do want to let set because anytime we make frangipane, we do want it to set. It needs a little bit of cooling time to really hold together. And I do this with pretty much anything that I make that has this in there. So we're going to let it rest for like 20 minutes or so until just in room temperature. You can just let it sit and then you can start cutting into it and eating it.
You let it sit still in the pan
outside of the oven
for about 20 minutes. Yeah. And then you lift it out, parchment, like you were saying, lift it out onto like a cutting board or something. And then you're cutting it into perfect squares.
Perfect squares. Yeah. Or if they're too big, you can also do squares and then cut each one diagonally in the middle and they become these beautiful triangles. Oh. And that's another option because these are really filling too. So they can get kind of big.
Yeah, no, and that's prettier than the just normal bars. You get these little triangles. That sounds really good. Kind of croissant shaped almost.
Yeah, good point. Yeah. Like it.
Okay, well, Dee, this sounds amazing, even to me who doesn't always like sweet almond things. It sounds really, I mean, I love the shortbread, so that just sounds great. And shortbread's not as sweet too, right? So it kind of cuts some of that also.
Yeah.
Really.
It's not overly sweet. And I love the texture. It's like tender. It's so like satisfying to bite into.
For sure. I will put the link to the recipe in the show notes for this podcast episode for people, but they can also find you online. Can you let everybody know where they can go if they want your recipes and this one and want to see all this delicious stuff? Where should they head?
For sure. So dsweets.com is where you want to go for my website. And I highly recommend actually checking it out on Instagram, D_and_sweets. But if you start typing D and, I'll come up as D and Sweets. So you'll see me there. Highly recommend going on Instagram because they're really good visuals and lots of videos that you can see on there. And it also helps to like show the process and really like get in there and see what does that texture really look like. So I highly recommend going there.
Oh, for sure. And I will link to your cookbook for everyone as well. Yay, so
Thank
exciting.
you.
Thank you so much, Dee. This has been really fun.
It has been so fun. Thank you so much for having me.
Isn't Dee lovely? Let me tell you, we met at a conference back in Savannah in March and just instantly got along. She's just very down to earth and kind and supportive. And we had this little group of people hanging out. And I really think she was one of the people that made that conference so special for me. So thank you so much, Dee, for being an amazing guest. And everybody go and check out her recipes, dsweets.com. Make those almond croissant cookie bars. Oh my God. I love shortbread crust on things. You know me, not a huge sweet tooth, but like shortbread is one of those things. I just love it so much. So yeah, go and see her recipes. And don't forget her Instagram is gorgeous. Go and follow her there. D_and_sweets. You will find her. Okay. Now what are we talking about for the rest of the show? So, you know, a little while ago, I switched from telling you what is going to be coming live this week on the show to what has come live recently. And I think I finally have got a handle on keeping track of what has recently gone live. If I tell you about something that I already told you about, though, I'm sorry. Like, I want to tell you about the pancakes for two. I know I actually talked about this on the show on Thursday. I'm obsessed with this recipe, though. So that is new over on the Cookful, one of the lovely for two recipes that we have done for the public to sort of promote the membership community, which has more of the recipes for two, right? And there is one more. I think it is the last of the 4-2 recipes that we are doing publicly on the Cookful. The rest will be going inside of the membership. So this is the last one and it went live this week. It is a lasagna for two that is done in a loaf pan, and my entire raison d'etre, I'm going to get fancy and use some French. My entire reason for doing this recipe was to make it as easy as possible. Lasagna usually involves making some kind of sauce, cooking some ground beef maybe for the sauce, also cooking the noodles, doing some kind of ricotta mixture, maybe then all the layerings. You have all these pots and pans and then your actual baking dish, and then it goes into the oven, right? So all these different components. What I really wanted was one loaf pan, nothing else. I got it down to one loaf pan, a cutting board and a knife and a small mixing bowl. And then I do recommend that you put a sheet pan under the loaf pan just in case it boils over. You don't want your oven to get messy. I have not yet had it boil over, but it did get really close to the top, and I would hate for that to happen to you. So yeah, so that is what I got it down to. It's very, very simple. You're using either a fully cooked Italian sausage. The brand that my grocery store has is Adele. There's also an Alfresco. So you have that really nice meaty flavor in there. You could use an already cooked meat like any leftover chicken or ground beef. And then, yeah, you're just layering the noodles. I've tested it both with the oven ready no boil noodles and with regular lasagna noodles. They both work. I used to change it ever so slightly. So yeah, it is very simple. You're basically just getting your meat chopped up, mixing together some ricotta with another couple of ingredients, and then you start layering in the loaf pan, and it is stunningly delicious. It looks like lasagna, but in a loaf pan. Once you let it sit for the good 10-15 minutes after the oven, it slices like lasagna. You get a really nice slice. And my son's girlfriend has said that it's the best lasagna she's ever had. And she's had a lot of this lasagna because she was here for all the testing of it. So she's tried it many times and loves it. I love it. You're going to love it. That is live on the Cookful, an example of the kind of recipe that you will find on cookfor2.us. All of these recipes made practical for cooking for small households. The other recipe that I have new to tell you about is new on Cook the Story, and I'm obsessed with it. It is the broccoli cheddar pickle dip. I say you have to make it, and then you have to take it to whatever potluck or event that you're having, or if you're hosting, or just making it for the two of you. You'll want to divide it in half at least. But you're doing this dip, broccoli cheddar pickle dip. When you say those words, people's heads turn. It is crazy. I've taken it to a few potlucks now. I've had it here for people and they're just like, what did you say? I need to try that. And like everything stops while they come and try. And then they taste it and then they are won over. It is so delicious. It's just, broccoli and cheddar, such a classic combination. Cheddar and pickle, think of it like on your burgers, how good the cheese and the pickle go together. And it's just so good. You've got to try it. So that is new on Cook the Story just recently. You will find it there. I will put the link to all these recipes in the show notes for this podcast episode so you can find them easily. And you can also get to them over at cookthestory.com/ROTD. Everything there is arranged by date, so it's helpful to know that today is November 22nd of 2025. So you'll go there and then you can get all the links that I've talked about very easily from there. I usually spend a few minutes talking about what I'm cooking for the sites, like testing new recipes and that kind of thing at the end of the show here. But, it is Thanksgiving week and I am not doing any official recipe testing or any photography or videos. You never know when I'm going to suddenly pull out my tripod and start filming something or take a picture of something, but I don't have anything planned for this week. My kids are off of school this week, but they are at their dad's for the first part of it. It's just me and Marty here. But then all of us are heading to Miami. My son's meeting his girlfriend's extended family for the first time and having some Thanksgiving celebration with them. We're doing a little something with Marty's mom, me and my daughter and Marty. And then we're all going to be meeting up in Miami and doing some touristy stuff there. It's going to be really nice. I don't know if you are familiar with this area, but there is now a train that goes from Orlando to Miami. Super convenient. It drops you off right in downtown Miami where you can Uber, get to wherever you want to go. And yeah, it's really convenient and easy. No car needed, no driving in Miami traffic or any of the traffic leading to Miami from here. It's kind of awful. You just end up right there in the middle of things. So I'm excited. My kids have never been before and it's going to be a nice trip. But all of that to say, I am not doing a lot of work related cooking this week, relaxing a little bit and then getting ready for that trip. So yeah, that is what's going on with me. I want to say a big thank you to Dee from DeeSweets.com for being an amazing guest and such a kind person and for baking up such delicious treats. Don't forget to go and find her on Instagram and her website, DeeSweets.com. And I want to say a big thank you to you, those of you listening who've already become members of Cook4Two.us. I'm very excited and I hope to see you at our first live event this afternoon at 3 p.m. So go to Cook4Two.us and use coupon code ROTD, and then I will see you at the event later today. Thank you so much for listening. I am Christine Pittman from CookTheStory.com, thecookful.com, the all-new chicken cookbook, Cook4Two.us, and from this podcast, Recipe of the Day. I hope you have a great weekend. Let's get cooking.